Welcome to the Relax into Love podcast, the place for spiritual, ambitious women to awaken to divine connection within themselves and their partner and manifest their most desired relationship with joy and ease. I'm Teal Elizabeth, your host, a spiritual love and relationship coach trained in the principles of feminine energy, NLP, and deep subconscious reprogramming. And through this podcast, it is my desire to inspire you on all things dating, relationships, and self-love. Now, on to the show. Welcome back, ladies, to another episode of the Relax into Love podcast. I'm your host, Teal Elizabeth, and today I am super excited to be sharing with you a very special interview where I was featured with a fellow love coach, where she's going to be asking me some questions about feminine energy and really unpacking, diving right into the depths of feminine energy, how we really use that from a place of strength, and how we can really use that to magnetize high-quality men into our experience. So I'm going to, without further ado, just dive right into it.
Welcome to the Irresistible Woman video series. I'm your host, love coach Deanna Cobden, and today I have the wonderful Teal Elizabeth. Welcome, Teal. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Deanna. It's so great to be here.
I'm so excited because today is really like spirituality kind of meets some of the practical and the energy dynamics, and we're going to put it all together and create a special little interview here for everybody. So before we get started, I really love how you talk about relaxing into love. What does that mean?
Yes. For me, it really, really just speaks to my heart because, as I'm sure many of the listeners here are also, I was and continue to be a very ambitious, driven woman. I am like the classic A-type go-getter. And when it came to relationships, I really struggled with relationships for a long time because I was applying this energy of going and getting the relationship, going and getting the man like I did everything else in my life, and it wasn't working. And it was causing me so much frustration and anxiety and just like pent up energy that couldn't be released. And it made me very unrelaxed. And so now that I've been able to shift that and really understand what it takes to be able to relax into love, this is something that I really want to hone in on this message and share with other ambitious driven women that it's possible to do so too. Yeah. We don't have to hustle our way into that relationship that we want.
Yeah, I love that. I think that so many women are exactly in that position right now. They're trying to make it happen. Like you said, they're in that, hustle, work hard. I've got this, I'm going to get this, but it really doesn't really get you anywhere. And that really comes down to that masculine, feminine energy. So like, how does that work? How should we start showing up so that we can relax into love and like into the energy of attracting the right man?
Yeah. So ladies, oh my gosh, like for a long time, I didn't even understand this dynamic of masculine and feminine energy. So if this is a whole new world to you, I totally get it. You're not alone. But it is going to change your life. It is such a powerful shift in energy, and it completely can transform the way that you've been approaching relationships. For me, it was almost like I discovered this entirely new other side of my being that had just been laying dormant. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions when we first hear about this concept of feminine energy. A lot of people tend to think of it as being, weak or overly emotional or needy, clingy. And that was the way that I thought of feminine energy. And I never wanted to be perceived as that. And so I kind of doubled down on the opposite, which is the masculine energy, which is when we are really in our heads, we're planners, we're strategizing, we're leaning in, as Sheryl Sandberg tells us to do. But when we apply that kind of energy to a relationship, it really doesn't leave much space for the man to come forward and do much. It's kind of like, I like to think about it like an energy bubble, right? If there's only so much space in this energy bubble with you and a man, if you're bringing in this masculine energy of, creating and strategizing and in your head planning about where the relationship's going, you're really leaning forward in this relationship. And so it naturally just causes your man to want to lean back energetically, right? And so a lot of times, without even realizing it, we can actually subconsciously push men away with this energy, even if we don't realize we're doing it. And so this concept of relaxing into love is really about learning how to lean back and pull back into our more feminine energy of being present and getting out of our head and into our heart, where we can really just practice more receiving. And that really shifts the energy for our man or men in general to be able to come forward and give to us.
Yeah, I like that. And I also think one of the things that misconceptions about feminine energy is that it's only about getting a man. And it isn't. It's really about being and just being in your own energy and being relaxed and letting things come to you. And that's not just men, it's everything, right?
Yes, I love that you make that distinction. Absolutely. This goes so far beyond just attracting relationships. It's job, careers, money, everything into your life.
Money, big, money for sure. There's a lot of parallels there. I also think another great analogy, the masculine is really like you're driving the car, but you want the guy to drive the car, but where's he going to sit? Right? He can't sit you're already sitting in the driver's seat. So you're pushing him into the passenger seat, or he's not even in the car. So kind of another like visual there.
Yes. And it's a really common thing. And I really feel like, if any of you ladies are thinking, oh crap, this is totally me, right? I've done this. I don't want you to beat yourself up, because this is a really natural thing. This is something, it's the reason why I do the work that I do, to help women to step into their feminine energy. Because what I'm really noticing is with this surge of women's empowerment that is coming forth, we more than ever, I feel like, as women are really taking a stance for what it really means to be a modern day woman in this world. We're saying, hey, we want to be like men. We want to have the same rights. We want to have all the same abilities, and we're really standing in that strength.
Yeah.
But what's happening is really kind of shifting the pendulum into a much more masculine world and masculine energy for our own selves.
Yeah.
And so this is about just recognizing, okay, I've been conditioned to be acting this way for a really long time, and it's time to really just take a step back and recognize, is this serving me, or do I need to really shift and try a new approach when it comes to relationships?
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's how do you think that really impacts our relationships with men if we're in that mode?
Yeah, it really is a huge backlash. I'm seeing it as a really bad consequence of this kind of women's empowerment movement. Because men, when they are feeling that you're in the driver's seat, it's like there's no space for them. And they're really looking at us saying, what do we do with you? Right? Like you look like a woman, you seem like a woman, but you're acting like a man. So where do I fit into this relationship?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was going to say it's also not about, settling back into 1950s housewife style. This is about redefining what does it mean to be a modern day woman in this world? How do we use femininity as a strength and not as a weakness, as we've seen it in the past?
So what are some steps to doing that, to like claiming that empowerment in that feminine way?
Yeah. I think the first thing is really getting clear on that vision of the woman that you get to become. And this is something that I think is just one of the most powerful things that we can do for relationships, but in all areas of your life. So this is a really, really great tool, is really recognizing, who is the woman that I get to become to attract what it is that I want? And this really kind of falls in line with the idea of law of attraction as well. We really create what it is that we are feeling. So if you are wanting a specific type of relationship, really think about, what does that man look like? How does he make me feel? What does this relationship look like in that healthy, beautiful, ideal way? And if that energy is vibrating up here of this just like harmonious, happy, beautiful energy, then it's really about meeting that man and that energy up here with the woman that you get to step into becoming.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I do. Yeah. You do have to start thinking about who do I want to become, because you aren't really at that. If you're not attracting that, then there's something you have to embody and embrace to become that.
Yes. Yes. So like asking yourself, what does that type of woman look like?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of woman would attract a man that makes her feel safe and loved and adored and respected and admired? It's going to be a woman that already exudes the qualities of feeling very respected and loves herself and feels very confident in who she is and what she has to offer, and absolutely loves the person that she is. And when you level up into being that type of woman, it's just a byproduct that people are going to start seeing you in that way and responding to you in that way as well. And that's the golden ticket for where you're able to meet those high vibe guys. Because I think what I hear a lot of times with clients is, where are all the good men, right? Where are they? But if you're down here, ladies, maybe still working through some past experiences, some past pain, some past wounds, or you've got some limiting beliefs or thoughts about what you can and can't attract, then you're naturally only going to be attracting a similar type of vibe of man down here. Yeah. And so that's where you really get to do the work of stepping up who you're becoming.
What are some exercises or some tips for really getting into your feminine energy?
Well, a lot of it has to do with general mindset. So it's going to be a lot more about what you're not doing and actually doing less. And much more attention on how you're feeling in every moment. So when we really think about this difference between masculine and feminine energy, when it comes down to it, the simplest definition is that masculine energy is really being more in your mind, in your head, and feminine energy is really being connected to your heart. Masculine energy is about thinking and planning for the future, and feminine energy is about being present in the moment.
Yeah.
So anytime you're starting to get into that mode of overanalyzing, or the mind chatter is going crazy, or you're feeling anxious, it's really an opportunity right there to step into your feminine energy by just taking a breath. Really, really just getting centered in your heart. And it does, you can sense it, right? It's like it slows you down.
Yeah.
And it slows down your energy, and men can sense it. They have like a sixth sense for this. They can really feel if a woman is in touch with her own energy.
So I want to take a second to pause this podcast and talk to you a little bit about the Ladies Love Lounge. The Ladies Love Lounge has become the #1 online community for self-love, self-confidence, and feminine energy, helping to transform women from the inside out so that they can truly relax into love, both with themselves and with all the relationships in their lives. And this was formed as a result of me seeing and hearing so many women just feel lost and alone and confused in their experience, and desperately needing guidance, but not knowing or trusting who to go to where they could feel safe and held. Because there's no rule book for love, right? And most of us haven't had the best role models to show us how to be in a healthy relationship. So that's what I want to be here for you. It is my intention to create a space for you to feel held and emotionally supported and guided as you navigate this world of love for yourself. Through this membership, you have access to an online community of women just like you that are all on a deep journey of self-love and self-growth so that they can deepen intimacy with themselves and with their partner and manifest that healthy, long-lasting relationship. Through this membership, you have access to all of my content and course materials, meditations, quizzes, workbooks, as well as weekly live stream Q&A support from me and monthly group coaching calls. This is something that I wish I had when I was starting out, and I wish that I had something that was accessible, because a lot of times there are coaches out there that come at a very high cost, and this is something I wanted to make accessible to any woman and every woman that needs it and wants it. So if this is something you're interested in exploring and having my guidance and support on an ongoing basis from now until the day you say I do, then I want you to click the link in the show notes and join us. And as an extra incentive, I want to give you a 7-day money-back guarantee, because I know that once you're in here, you're not going to want to leave. But if you have any hesitations, you can always just send me an email and I am happy to refund your first month for free. I can't wait for you to come play in the magic of the possibilities. Now, back to the show.
Or if it's chaotic and sporadic and all over the place.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest thing that you can do is actually just lining in and honing in on your center.
Yeah. So do you recommend something like meditating before you go on a date? Or is there any things that, let's say she gets home from work and she's just really tense, but she's got this date and she really wants to, have a great time, but she's still kind of riled up from her day at work. So what are some things she can do, like maybe meditation, or what are some things you recommend?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be different for every person depending on kind of how you operate. So I know some ladies love meditating. That's obviously a great way to just clear your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But if meditation isn't your thing, then I would really just take a second to get present in the moment. So just actively making a pause in your day, writing it in your calendar, 30 minutes of just pause before I go and jump into this date or jump into going to see my man. And in that pause time, giving yourself some time to just process. So maybe it's even just going to a park and taking off your shoes and just feeling the grass in your feet and how it feels to have the wind in your hair, and just giving yourself a second to just pause between actions.
Yeah.
Maybe it's calling a girlfriend and processing through everything that has been happening in the day so that you're not wanting to dump that all on the man that you're with. So that you can kind of get it off your chest, so that way you are just in a really calm, relaxed state.
Yeah.
And then I think at that point, once you've kind of processed through the anxiousness and the feelings, and you're able to get to that calm state, coming back to that vision of, how do I really want to show up right now? How do I really want him to feel me? Because the feeling that you create in the way that you're received will speak so much louder than the words that you speak or the way that you try and appear.
Yeah. I love that advice of taking that pause, and so just give yourself some time to just hang out and like not rush to do your makeup and not rush to like make the plans and stress about what you're going to wear, and give yourself that space to just kind of wander around, be in your space, and then you're going to totally switch into a different energy mode.
Yes, absolutely. I almost think about it as like when I was first learning this stuff, I really was thinking about it like taking off different hats.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in work mode, I put my work hat on, I go and I crush it with my masculine energy and boom, 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 boom. And then it's like, okay, I'm coming home to my man, I'm going to take off that work hat and I'm going to put on my crown. Yeah. And I'm going to open up my heart. I'm going to relax, and I'm just going to step into that presence with this goddess of just, I am this juicy, yummy, delicious, beautiful woman that just wants to love and nurture and care for you.
I love that.
Thank you. It's amazing to see the shift, the way that men receive you. I even have clients tell me that they'll be walking down the street or at the grocery store and they're practicing that feminine essence, that energy vibe, and men at the grocery store are just coming up to them right and left and looking at them, and it's like they got beams of light just shining out of their heart. And that's really what I want you beautiful listeners to really hone into. How can I connect to that light inside of my heart, which we all have, and just open it up and just let it shine out? Because we are energetic beings at the end of the day. Yeah. We have so much energy pulsing through us, and it's up to us to decide if we want to really allow that to be open, or if we're coming into an interaction being closed.
That's what I was just going to say. I think that putting on the idea of putting on the crown and saying, I'm going to step into my like goddess energy, gives you permission to shine, to be seen, to be in your love yourself and show that. Like, I think that's a really powerful visual and a powerful lesson. I think everybody should go practice that after they watch this interview. What does it feel like to put on the crown and be the goddess? And what is the energy I want to be feeling and bringing and exuding? I love that so much.
Yes. I would say too, other tactical things to really help you to just tap into that. I really encourage my clients to, get a piece of jewelry that reminds them of the beautiful, kind, beautiful, like soft, sensual woman that they are. Wearing perfume. A lot of women wear perfume because they want to smell good, but really being intentional with perfume. I want to wear perfume because I want to be magnetic. I want my essence to be spreading out and turning heads. What are the intentional things that you want to do? I want to wear flowy clothes so that I feel just very flowy, right? Things you can do to really get you like sunk into that on an external way and an internal way.
Yeah, I like that. And it's not, for anyone who's thinking, oh, this is superficial, it's really not superficial. It actually helps you, like we talked about, give yourself permission to be in that energy. Sometimes we have to kind of try on like almost like a costume so that we feel like we can actually show up as that person.
Yes. And I will say, it's so funny because this is probably going to feel really weird for you ladies when you first try it. I know it did for me. I don't know for you, Deanna, if you felt that way in the beginning, but it can feel really uncomfortable to be trying on this new kind of side of yourself. And you may be thinking, oh my God, they're going to think this and that of me. They're going to totally see through this. Like, this is so fake. But if you believe it and you really stand in it, they're going to feel it.
Yeah.
And when they feel it, it's like, it's almost like you're melting walls. Mm-hmm. Because what you're doing is you're coming in without any walls up. When we come in from the scenario that you first said, you're rushing from work, you're late on the subway, you show up at the date and you're just kind of like frazzled. In a sense, what you're doing is you're putting up like this steel coat of armor around your heart, and you're like, hi, I'm Teal, nice to meet you. And then you feel that, and it's like a physical block. They can't relax with you.
Yeah.
But if you take this time to put on your crown, to get into that essence, to really feel beautiful and sensual and fun and playful, and you feel open to opening your heart, it really shows men that you feel comfortable in yourself, so they can feel comfortable in themselves, and they can feel comfortable in your presence.
Even the body language, like you just gave me a really good visual when you're like, hi, it's like you're up here and you're like intense, but when you're putting on the crown, it's like, no, I'm here. I'm relaxed into love. I'm ready to relax into love. That's an amazing, I think that's a great note to end on. I think we've given ladies so many amazing tips. I want everyone to go try on their crown, and I would love to get an email if you try on the crown, and let Teal and I know if something happens for you, if you feel a shift, if you start noticing like you're attracting men, and just kind of what happens for you, or just how you feel. Do you feel like you're ready to relax into love? So thank you so much, Teal. This has been wonderful.
Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Relax Into Love podcast. If you are loving what you're hearing, please, I would love for you to write me a heartfelt review. It means so much for the success of this podcast. And honestly, I love hearing what really hits home for your soul. And the feedback, really, I read every piece of it. So definitely pop me a love note and share this with a friend. Share this with someone who you know could really use this message today. And let's keep spreading the love. Until next time.